Hi everybody, Jessie here. We're going to do another coloring tutorial today, but this time I'm going to use my Inktense pencils. So the only things I have here is I have a little dish of water just up in front, my piece of paper towel, of course my pencils, and two Cutman watercolor brushes. I have a 0 and a 1. The stamp set I'm using is stamp MYB-916. And I stamped her out on Arch's 90-pound hot press watercolor paper so it's nice and smooth. So I stamped it with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and then I embossed it just with clear embossing powder. Now that's for two reasons. For one, I don't have to worry about making sure I heat set my ink so that nothing's going to bleed when I touch it with water and it's not going to react with water. I have no worries about that. The other reason is that it actually gives you that slightly raised texture to your image, and then you don't have to concentrate quite so hard as keeping it in the lines, because with them being embossed, it helps hold it where you want it. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here, and we're going to focus on the skin color today. So I'm going to bring you in. So the colors I'm using for my skin are Saddle Brown, Baked Earth, and Carmine Pink. So I'm starting with my Saddle Brown, and I'm going to use my number 1 watercolor brush. And all I do is I take my brush and I dip it into my water, and then I wipe it off on my paper towel. And that way I don't have too much water on my brush. And instead of coloring directly on it, I'm actually going to start pulling color off of the pencil itself. And then we just start following on the outer edge, and we blend it into the middle. Now it's not going to go very far with each turn, because it doesn't have a lot of water nor a lot of color, because I'm not coloring directly onto the image. So you only get that little bit that you're picking up with the end of your watercolor brush. I prefer it because it gives me tons and tons of control. So I'm going to finish this off, and I will be right back when it's done. So once I get to this point and I have my first basic wash of color, my shapes kind of put into the image, now I go back and I'm still continuing on with that same saddle brown, and I'm just going to deepen in around all of my edges and pull that in just to give me some more shadow and help curve her face around. have to remember when working with Inktense pencils is that this is not a basic watercolor. While it reacts a lot like watercolor, once you have it put on and it dries, because you are completely saturating all of the color, it no longer is water soluble. So when it's on, that's where it is and that's how it's going to stay. So the way I base everything is I'm more willing to put on additional layers to build up to the color that I want than end up too dark too fast and not be able to take it off. Okay, so once we get to this point with the saddle brown, I'm very, very happy with the way everything's coming together. I like how her shadows are, and it's a very good base and starting point for the rest of this face. So now I'm going to come in with my Baked Earth pencil. Now this is a very red color in comparison to the saddle brown, and I don't add a whole lot of it, but it does liven up her skin all over without being too pink to be considered just blush. So I go in around the corners of her cheeks and I pull some of it in. And I know it's very, very subtle, and I don't know how much of it you'll even be able to pick up for difference on the camera. But I personally find that it makes a world of difference to my images, so I do it. This is the standard color combination you'll find with that a lot of people that color stamped images with Inktense pencils go to are these three colors, and they just blend together lovely and give you a great skin tone. So why mess with a good thing? Ooh, that's pretty dark. Get in there before it dries. There we go. And the only reason it's so easy to save like that right now is because I'm working on previously wet paper. So I've never let it dry completely. Okay, this is saddle brown again. And again, I've got too much. I just want to add a little bit more in and around her mouth here, because I'm finding that it looks pretty blank. There. Makes me happier. So back to my Baked Earth. I'm just adding a little bit of it on her nose. And then our final color is our Carmine Pink. Now this is my blush tone. That's all I use it for. So I come in with it and I start at the top of her cheek and I bring it out across the bottom of her eye. And then I come down the side here because her hair's there. I follow the hairline. And then just a touch of it along the bottom. And I blend it in. So I don't end up with super rosy cheeks when I use my Inktense pencils. That's just my personal preference. When I use my Inktense pencils in comparison to my Copics especially, I find that I go for a much softer look. I don't go quite as vivid. Which is funny because these colors can be extremely bright and vivid. Then I'll use the Carmine Pink in her lips as well. A little bit of my saddle brown on the bottom lip just to make it look a little paler than the top one, because naturally your top lip actually looks darker than the bottom because it is shadowed. Sorry, I ended up with a little too much color. Alright, and there you have it. That is a skin tone done in Inktense pencils. Leave your comments below and let me know if you'd like to see the entire image done. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful day!